Hey, welcome everybody to the Cosmic Tower Q&A, September 5th, 2023. We are excited that you're here. We're excited to keep unfolding the Cosmic Tower project. We're excited to see Nico stepping up over the last few weeks and really, jumping into an important role with regard to interacting with towers and being more connected to the global project. There's a big vacuum left when Harald left, and left the body anyway. He seems to be still around in relationship with quite a few of the people that I talk to. So, Nico, you want to start by just saying hi and telling anybody about what you've been up to the last few weeks and how you've been getting stretched to be part of this?
Well, I think it's the community is getting stretched, right? And Harald really did an amazing job getting the Cosmic Tower project started, right? Ultimately, all of us as a collective, I feel we are the stewards for nature and for Mother Earth. And as far as a new energy grid is concerned, it's up to all of us, right? All of us are important, and as we do our inner work, that work ripples out, right, to all of the collective. I think sometimes we don't give enough credit for ourselves when we make changes that can be difficult, or as the energies are coming up. I don't know about anybody else, but the last few weeks and the last few months have been intense. On a personal level, and our relationships being reflected in the collective of the world, and everybody has their own challenges and has their own teams. And yeah, I feel also for the Cosmic Tower, what is happening, many people are stepping up and really embodying that the Cosmic Tower is a living consciousness, that it's an entire network that is, for the earth, for humanity, and maintained and supported by humanity. So yeah, I think that's where we're heading, as all the control structures in the old world is crumbling, where we give a lot of our power away, to doctors, to politicians, to bankers, you name it. I mean, we are here to ring in like a new world, and I think all of us are called forward in our own unique way to contribute to that. So
yeah, it's a big time of stepping up. Being here on Maui, it's a pretty unique place to be right now. And there seem to be a lot of people that are having levels of perception and understanding that they've never had before. And some say that the veils are thinner than ever. Some say this is just the time and our evolution for understanding. It's an interesting time, and we're all going through a lot. Yeah, so we've got some questions here. Let me jump right in. So how do you know if your water is structured with the Cosmic Tower, and are the people who live in the radius also having water structured?
yeah, so one of the things you'll notice with the Cosmic Towers, other than like the pictures that have been taken in Holland with the water, it's like the same with the Aqua Energizer, right? How do you personally know that your water is structured? I think you notice differences in the properties, differences in the way that plants, animals, and especially your own body responds to it, right? As you drink cleaner water. In Holland, there have been some pictures taken before and after exposure to Cosmic Tower. And but yeah, for yourself, tune into your own energy. Right? How do you know if a particular supplement or something else really works for you? Right? You tune into yourself, into your own energy, and you notice the differences. How is are the people who live in the radius also having water structured? Yes. So is as far as the active field of the Cosmic Tower is, the toroidal field cuts down the water structure structures, but also know that we talked about before about range. When we specify the range of a cosmic tower, that is where the tower is capable of like sending scalar energy with little to no loss. But as far as the constant, like the field that the tower can hold at a minimum permanently, that determines on a number of factors. And the most important one, how many distortions are within that radius that actually break water structures. So how many 5G towers, how much Wi-Fi, you name it, anything that has a harmful effect on water. So you have to look at both. That's why we can never give you like, that's how it's gonna be regardless of where you're at. You have to look into into the environment that you live in, like downtown New York, or versus you live on a ranch in Wyoming. There's quite a bit of difference in the energetics of the two locations. And one of the things you can always do is test it for yourself, right? Learn how to dowse, learn how to tune in, learn how to do kinesiological testing, so you can find out for yourself what that is for your location. What I've noticed with some towers, especially with the big ones, sometimes they don't go straight to like 100%, and they seem to build up energy, and the field seems to build up. Like mine, the big one here, he's running at about 95% now, but it's been building up over time.
Yeah, that's an interesting quality. I know the one in Sedona has been building like in 10% increments since like March, April.
Mhm.
And it's 80% now.
Yeah, and remember that while many of us would want to say like, oh, I want it to be the human nature, impatience, I want it to be 100% from day one, the cosmic tower is always going to look and see for the highest good of all involved. And also, a lot of times it's not like the quick solution is the best solution, because there are a lot of dynamics. And I don't know if you remember, Harald used to talk about how the cosmic powers have their own order of addressing certain issues, just like with the body, right? And you have your knee pain resolved, and the cosmic power might be, well, you got an issue there with your heart. That that should be addressed first. Same for nature, right? There's a certain order.
Yep. I want to just throw a little bit more in on the structuring thing, which is just to say, as somebody who spent 10 years in the structured water industry, there's no such thing as not structured water. The question is, how is your water structured? So if you're not making a conscious choice about it, if you're not mindful of it, you're not praying over it, you don't have a structured water device, you don't have a cosmic tower, then your water is structured by 5G and EMF and the frequencies that are being broadcast on this planet, pollution and toxins. And, you know, if we make a decision to harmonize our environment, everything that we do that brings consciousness, presence, awareness is structuring water. So it's all, the more good we add, it's all good. Like the more harmony, you can't have too much of it. So I think a better question is the structuring at a threshold that makes a difference for me? And so as you learn to go inward and notice what water is connected to, you might notice it's connected to your creativity, to your emotions, to your steadiness, to the physical aspects of, like, I can feel while I'm talking right now, like that the inside of my cheeks are wet. Like I can just, as soon as I put my focus on it, I know I don't have to put my tongue over there to check anymore. And I got to swallow while I'm talking because I'm so aware of it now. So, you know, there are the physical aspects, but for me, the most exciting parts of it are the consciousness aspects. And so if you find that you're able to be coherent with things and you're able to move things forward and you're able to be creative, that's a real sign of the water being structured around you. Anything else on that, Nico, before we move to the next one?
Nope.
Okay, I think there was an email thread that you were a little more aware of than I were, but there was some weather going through California, some hurricanes. It's hurricane season now, and you know we have a number of 220s in the area, and one of our clients observed that she thinks that well, I'm not sure who wrote this, but that there's an impact on from the 220s on um, man-made weather, and that it can have you know, a really powerful influence. So what's been going on with that topic?
Yeah, this one's when was that? Like 2 weeks ago or something, when they had the hurricane coming into California. And yeah, absolutely. If it's man-made weather and it's artificial, right? As soon as it hits the range of the toroidal fields, like the toroidal fields will bring it back into a harmony with nature. So absolutely, it can have an effect. Also, when I knew about it, I immediately set my own intention through the network for California, for all the big towers to help to smoothen out the weather patterns and bring harmony with nature. But again, like there it depends, right? How much artificial energy is being put into that system versus how much energy do we have available to affect it. Now, the great thing with like hurricanes and stuff is like because the cosmic tower has such a far range, like the ones that are close to the coast, it can affect it, and it doesn't take much for a hurricane uh, that's 100 miles out to deviate its course, right? So yeah, I absolutely believe it has something to do with the cosmic tower presence, and then definitely never forget when we work consciously with it. That's where the real power is. When we have one human being and three cosmic towers, we get, you know, the sums much more than just the sum of the parts.
Yeah, I'm reminded of a hurricane story a while back. You know, Jen and I are the only two people at the Wellness Enterprise for a whole bunch of years, and we used to have a rule that if you're acting angry, or I would just say it like acting like an asshole, you get sent home for the day. It doesn't matter if you're Jen or Patter or who you are. And there was a hurricane bearing down on Miami, and I have a dear friend who's lived there his whole life, and he doesn't get scared. He looks at, he measures, he makes plans, and he makes choices, and I've just never seen him scared. And the storm was bearing down on Miami. He's scared, and I really felt it deeply. And so I set out a very powerful and focused intention that I be able to do something to send this hurricane back out to sea. Like if there's some role that my being could play in that, that I play it. And the next day I showed up for work and I was just a raging asshole. Like Jen and I were trying to work and it just like nothing would happen. And so we decided that I need to be sent home for the day. And so off I went. And I went out into my yard where I had cut up a lot of logs in the prior months to split for firewood. And normally when I go out and split firewood, there's a certain pace that I have that's kind of, you know, forward moving, but not too rigorous. This time I went out there and I was like a madman. And I just bashed and bashed and bashed and bashed for like 30 minutes, which was like enough to have me like heaving. And all of a sudden, like I got enough of it out that I just burst into laughter. And in the laughter, I understood what happened was my intention was fulfilled, and that the earth was using me as a conduit to ground some of the energy from that hurricane into the earth through this wood splitting thing. And so I went back in and called Jen and I was like, I'm okay now. Like I can come back to work. Like it was just a little tiny bit of a hurricane passing through me. So if you think about that at the level of, you know, 7-8 years ago, and the level of consciousness that I was at and the level of intention that I could bring, and then you bring that to the current day and the potential to interact with the cosmic tower to change weather, I get it. You know, I get that we really could be having an effect at that kind of level, and I'm thankful now that that experience ended up being part of my story so I could understand better when we sit here today.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Patrick. Because, like, I mean, think about the rain dances that the natives would do. Every culture, every Yang culture had their own way of affecting the weather patterns. Same in Egypt, right? So every culture has that. And I think as we move through this evolution as humanity, to me, the weather is, in a sense, is a reflection of the collective unconsciousness for humanity in that region. And what I believe is going to happen through the cosmic towers and also naturally is that we're no longer going to see ourselves separate of our environment. And we're going to see much more of the direct linkage, how nature is always reflecting back to us, and vice versa. So we no longer have this like, hey, we're completely disconnected and we get thrown on this ball kinds of weather patterns and they have nothing to do with us. Right? That's part of what's dissolving out to where we see our direct relationship, that we are not here to conquer nature or to subdue nature or to control nature, but we are a part of nature and we're intricately connected with nature, and that's where we're heading to in the future.
Yeah, I really like that we're talking about this because I had never connected that hurricane story to understanding that there really are influences on weather that can come from the people in our hearts. Like I look up at the sky and I see those chemtrail planes, and I'm aware that there's just this feeling of geoengineering of my weather, and I'm resentful about it. Like I have a hard time coming to peace and love about that, to be honest with you. Like I don't consent, and to be in this dialogue and to realize that, wait a minute, I already have a personal experience of knowing viscerally in my own cells that I for sure had an influence just through prayer and intention. Now you advance that, 8 years later and put it in this context, and it's a really meaningful dialogue. And it's funny because when that email thread was going on that you managed around this topic, I kind of avoided it because I was like, I can't understand that. And now I'm like, no, I just hadn't pieced together the parts of my story that were already there to let me understand it. I'm just getting that live on this call. And, there's one other piece that I can share, which is, Lubbock, Texas, it doesn't rain much. And when it rains, it's violent. There's most often between a ½ an inch and 2 inches of rain in one shot, and usually a very concentrated amount of time. And so the rain tends not to be very usable. And so on an annual basis, there's a game that's played by the farmers about whether they're actually trying to make a crop that will go to market or they're trying to get an insurance check. And so the game is played very differently in terms of investments and use of resources. And while I don't want to overstate and say that it's direct and causal, there is the data from this year, which is that the Cosmic Tower inventory for North America came in through Lubbock, Texas in mid-March. And between then and the 1st of June, there were about a dozen useful rains, which is, it's unheard of. Like that just doesn't happen. So we'll see if that continues, and we'll see how the crops go. But it sure is nice to see soft rain in Lubbock, and that is where there's the greatest concentration of cosmic towers. So pretty interesting. Okay, moving to the next topic. The next topic is about the cosmic tower having a soul, and how this one soul can work and connect with two people that have two different sets of body blockages, intentions, and belief systems. I think the customer wrote, the cosmic tower divinely, was quoting you, the cosmic tower divinely assigned to me is a fit for what I will need, which then confuses me, the customer says, how it can be divinely assigned to two people. So, yeah.
To two people, as in she means that there's maybe somebody else in her family, or... Okay, well, look at the soul as the intelligence that appropriates the energy. Like, can one healer only deal with one client? No, right? One healer can work with multiple clients and have multiple different files on and address multiple needs. So look at the soul being able, like, to deal with, whoever is in your family and who's consciously working with it and assisting you in what you need. So it's not, so don't look at it as this one-for-one relationship. Like, okay, there's 3 souls in there. There's 4 of us in the family. You get this one, I get this one, you get that one, you're out of luck. No help for you. No, right? It's the intelligence that's connected with it. And it's not that that soul is like dedicated to you. But what we have noticed is like the souls that are attached to it, like communicating with people ahead of time, or people knowing this is my cosmic tower, this is the one that I'm drawn to. And like when we do a reset, for example, because I saw a question about a reset pop through there, kind of think about it like it's really rudimentary, but you have your phone, for example, and then you customize it to work the best for you. So you have a bunch of information in there, you have contacts in there, you have certain apps to work with, certain customizations that you like. And then that phone can serve you personally a lot better because it's customized to you. Now, what you would do in a reset is basically take all that customization, take all that information out, and go back to a factory reset, as in, like, hey, the souls are there, the intelligence is there, and they are ready to work with whoever the new owner is. Oftentimes, people are saying, like, I don't really even need a reset, right? The souls are fine to me as they are, but look at it that way. It's not a one soul for one person.
Awesome. Hey, as we're going here, guys, we want you to know we love your participation. At any point, you're welcome to raise your hand, and we'll, have you ask your question live if you want to interact directly in the dialogue. And when you're putting things in the chat, Jen is taking care of the chat, and she is feeding those questions into the line where I'm sourcing from. So if you type it in there and I don't get to it right away, it's coming. So that's how we're doing it now to keep kind of a good flow. But we love talking with you guys. So if anybody has something they want to ask about live, please do. So Nico, sticking on the souls thing, I think this next person was kind of struggling with the idea that you can have 2 people in a home that are so different. One person is really into body mineralization, zeolite, organics, water and air purification, and the other isn't. And so how does, can the cosmic tower have 2 separate souls to deal with these 2 different people, or is there a different lens than seeing that through the lens of soul and seeing how the tower can support 2 different people with such different intentions or different styles and ways of being?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you as a person can support different people in different ways. The same for the cosmic tower. And what is important and what we need to understand is that the cosmic tower, everybody can have their own personal connection with it. And the cosmic tower, remember Harald explaining, will always go check with the higher self of the person that is making the request to see if that's in the highest benefit for them. So absolutely no issue. I mean, if you have, I don't know, there's 2 of you and there's 6 children, each and every one can have their own relationship with the cosmic tower, and it can be very different for them, and that's okay, because no 2 paths are alike. And the cosmic tower will always support you in what is for your highest good and what your path is, and then customize based on the interaction of the person that is working with the tower.
Nice. So continuing down this road, this person asks, can I connect and talk with the cosmic tower to allow my husband to experience his interaction in alignment and pace with his soul's highest and best good, while I may have assisting with my soul's alignment pace with my soul's highest and best good? In other words, can I, through my intention, affect the degree or even ask for help for him in health, etc., separate and different from what I asked for me? Say, without his even being aware, this is what the cosmic tower is doing.
Yeah, so I think I answered most of that. Now the question is, when you make a request for somebody else, like for me personally, I have a rule: I'm never going to step on another's journey. So I'm not going to tell you you should do this or you should do that or that's going to be better for you, right? Based on my filter, based on my opinion. So that's, I believe, for me, that's in alignment with like higher dimensional spheres where you let everybody have their own experience and you don't judge it through your filters. So yeah, absolutely, you can. From what I understand, this person, it was a long paragraph, wants, help for her husband. Yeah, you can request that, but remember, the cosmic tower will go and check with the higher self of the person that you're requesting it for. And if this request is in alignment, then and that's something that furthers them on their journey, it will do it, but it might not do it, right? Based on what it gets back from the higher self, from the person that you're requesting it for. And I sense a little bit of like one person being more into the cosmic tower, and maybe the husband not so much, and maybe wanting to shift that or wanting to change that. From my personal experience, the best way to always do that is just lead by example. Just have your own experience, and you deepen that connection for you, and know when you do that, like through osmosis, the people around you might wake up when it's their time, or have their insights based on the change that happened that they observed with you.
That's good counsel. I've been taking that one to heart with my kids, and let them be the way they are. And one of them called me recently and said, I've been following the news about what's going on in Maui, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, what's really happening? And I was stunned. I was like, she really wanted to know what was happening, and she wanted to know what was going on with me, and her level of asking was like from a level of attention that I'm not used to. And frankly, I think it was the most important conversation we've ever had, because it opens a vector of dialogue that wouldn't be there without her curiosity coming from within. So it was not predictable that kind of dialogue would start. And frankly, I cried like 7 times in that phone conversation, just the depth of her asking, and that she wanted me to really meet her in that. So I guess when it's time, it's time.
Yeah, and know, Patrick, that's also a reflection of all the self-work you've been doing, right? And then especially in the last few months and weeks, know that the fastest way to influence those close to you, especially if you're connected through blood, is to change yourself.
I totally get that. I was watching one of my boys act out his anger earlier this summer. I was like, well, I know where he got this pattern from. Like, this is very familiar ground. And so I just gave him space. Like, he decided to like be in a, it's not quite a rage, but he was doing pretty hard for like 48 hours. Like, it was long. And I was like, and I sat there thinking about it as I was holding my tongue. I was like, well, if they picked up the energetic programs from me over decades when I didn't know what I was doing and doing the best I can, what if I just sit here and shut up and hold up? What if I have trust that he and his soul are going to work this out? And actually, we were in the field of the cosmic tower while this was going on, and probably that supported me to have a greater strength in that. And I didn't get involved, and that's a break from the past. And eventually, I was leaving the island, and he started talking to me again. Like all he said was like, "Well, I'll see you when you get back." I was like, oh, we're back in dialogue. Like that was his way of saying this ends here. And it did. Like that was the end of it. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful journey. We have one more question from this person who was asking about her husband, obviously. And I think it's good to just like go all the way to the end of this because she was really seeing it through this soul definition and understanding and this perception of limitation that there's like one way of dealing with one soul. So what the last question that she shared is, does he need to connect with the tower to receive benefit? And then she adds, still on this topic, I'm not clear how two people can connect to one soul of the cosmic tower for the imminent connection we all strive to develop with our cosmic tower. If we both can connect, will we both use the same spirit name we hear? What if he hears a different name? Do we each then use the name we hear? Will that be for one soul or two souls in the cosmic tower?
Yeah. So the name, it's a human thing, right? What you're actually connecting with is a vibration, a consciousness, right? And for humans, it really helps to put a name on it. And that's fine. Do it with the name. And if he wants to connect, I mean, the first question was, does he still get the benefits? Yeah, of course he gets the benefits, but you'll always get more benefits if you consciously work with somebody, right? Or with another consciousness. And then as far as the names, yeah, whatever name works for him and whatever name works for you. Yeah, that name for me is more of a placeholder, allowing you to connect to that particular vibration or that consciousness. A lot of people, they say it's she, it's he, but the level of, that's a human thing, right? Because the level, the dimensional level that we're dealing with, it's not like they're a female or a male. It transcends. It transcends that. So see as the name as maybe your unique key to connect with and to access that consciousness.
Right on. Okay, looks like Anne's got her hand up. So let's go to a live question. That's always wonderful. Hi, Anne. Welcome.
Hi there, thanks. So my question is, can the souls or soul in your cosmic tower leave, and can other souls come in? Is there sort of an interchange in the energies? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, absolutely, that's possible. We've actually seen some towers in Europe where there's 7 souls when we measured them, and the person would work a lot with them. Came in and made the tower more powerful. They must have been like, "Oh, that's a really fun place to go to. Like, let's go hang out over there." And yeah, definitely the souls can also change, right? That's what happens during a reset, right? And but what I do not know, and if that happens like in a sense voluntarily, right? To where maybe it is that you have shifted into a next level and there's some better entity to serve you. I don't know that. I don't have any experience with that personally, but yeah, definitely. I think it's possible. Just like happens for human beings. Right? Sometimes there's walk-ins, there's who knows what. So I don't think we're that different from a cosmic tower. So I think the same principles and dynamics, hold true.
I've seen that principle in people. Like I have a friend I've known for a really long time who walked out and a new being walked in, and I didn't know until about 3 years later. Like she didn't tell me that it actually that she actually went. She told me she was preparing to go, and then she went, but she didn't tell me. And then about 3 years later, we were having this dialogue, and she said something that the original person would never say. And I was like, oh, you're not you. And she's like, nope, I'm not. I walked out. And yeah, it's amazing. So it does happen. It does happen. It's an amazing thing. Okay. Thanks for your participation, Anne. Can you share more tips on how to communicate with our towers?
Yeah, we'll get into that. We're gonna do a 3-part series just on that and connecting with your tower, and I think we're starting next week, if I'm correct. It's going to be 3 sessions, 2 weeks apart, and I will give more tips and we'll go more in detail. But I'm also inviting all of you that are Cosmic Tower owners. I know a lot of you. I know your personal experience with your, but it's amazing for you to show up in these calls because we all learn from each other and from each person and their tower. Them sharing their experiences, we learn different things, right? So absolutely, I will lead the call and then share some things that have worked with me. But please, it's by the community. Show and share your experiences of what works for you and what you've experienced. This is really going to be a sharing session between Cosmic Tower owners.
Great, and it looks like Jen's posting the dates in the chat for people to know. I don't know if you put all 3 dates in there, Jen, because I just got a partial notification. Yeah, you did. Okay, great. So just check in the chat. And the first one is Wednesday, September 13th. And are we going with our usual time on that, Jen? So 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys want to put those dates down, it's Wednesday, September 13th. And then, Jen, let's go ahead and tell everybody just so they have the opportunity to put these on the calendar, because this is going to be a really important series. I was thinking you were unmuting and sharing, but I'll go to the chat. Wednesday, September 13th, Wednesday, September 27th, and Wednesday, October 11th, all at 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's The Art of Playfulness is the name of the series, and Nico's going to be reading, but we'll be participating as a community. And this is all are welcome who own Cosmic Towers, but you're also welcome if you don't own a Cosmic Tower. Like this is something that we just think is super important, that people learn how to play with this consciousness. And I will share a quick story for those. I think some of you know Kiko from the community. I'm staying with her in Maui. And, my Cosmic Tower 35 is here, and there was a clock that stopped working, and there was a little bit of corrosion around the battery. Kiko replaced the battery, and nothing happened, and the clock just stayed at the same time for the next 24 hours. And then Kiko decided to take it and put it just before bedtime right next to the Cosmic Towers, like lightly touching the corner of the tower. And 2 things happened that I think are noteworthy. The first is when she gave the tower a job, it became a lot stronger for me. So I think that's one of the things that I'm learning, is that when I interact, or somebody in my environment interacts and asks of the tower, then it becomes more palpable, which is really beautiful. And then the second thing is just utterly shocking. Like, so the clock, which had been, for more than 24 hours not moving, sat next to the Cosmic Tower for the night, and in the morning it was going again. And that just blew my mind. Like how Kiko thought to do that, and that happened. It certainly stretched the realm of expectations that I had, and was a lot of fun. Moving on to the next question, this person asks, my city/community does not seem to be on board with this woo-woo stuff. And I would appreciate guides on how to approach people with regard to sharing.
Yeah, I mean, the woo-woo stuff, just my own journey. 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe any of it, right? And then through my own awakening after my mother passed and having all my own experiences, I was like, whoa, Like I discounted a lot of my reality by believing only in science, and science knows how everything works. And the only thing we know about science is that what's true today won't be true tomorrow, probably be superseded or replaced with something better, right? So as far as like, how do you convince people that don't believe in this woo-woo stuff? I personally do not, because it is for everybody to wake up at the moment that is right for them, and everybody has their free will. So I have no desire to go convince everybody about the cosmic tower, etc. For me, what I've noticed is the dynamic is the other way around. People that are open, people that are ready, uh, they get attracted to it and they get drawn to it, and it ends up on their journey. And I've heard those stories over and over and over of people telling me this. And that's why, personally, like for example, I take my tower to Egypt where we are in the winter. And we have a lot of people come visit in the house. I won't tell people, most of the people, hey, this is a cosmic tower, you go check it out. But you'd be amazed how many people are sitting there, and then they're like, I gotta ask you something. What's that? It's like, it's a cosmic tower. What is that? That kind of brings me there. Looking at me. I was like, yeah, in a way it is. So for me personally, I just have my own cosmic tower. I take it with me where I go, and I set the intention of like that those that are ready or should have one in their life or on their journey, that they'd be drawn and come on my path, and it's to work really well. So I wouldn't go down the route of forcefully convincing people like, oh, you got to believe in this. You live your truth and live by example, and then see who is drawn to you and who's curious about it.
Yeah, that's that sounds great. I just want to acknowledge, it seems like we're having a little bit of internet connectivity issues. I think it's on Nico's side, but maybe it's on mine. But if you guys are missing a few words, thanks for just rolling along with it and letting it be good enough. And if you miss something that's really important, just ask us, and we'll do our best to go back and and say something again. So
I think it's on your side.
that would be the best. I hope it's on my side. Andy's
Yeah.
shaking her head no. No, she's seeing you skip a little bit too.
All right, it's all good.
Yeah, well, we're doing the best we can. Appreciate everybody just kind of rolling with it, and sometimes we miss a few words, but we're getting the important energetics of the transmission. And yeah, we're happy to go over something again if something is really important. Okay, I'm interested in purchasing a cosmic tower for myself, my family, pets, and my bees. Bees, as you probably know, suffer from mites that often end up killing them. My reasoning is, like humans, their biofield is compromised by all the detrimental frequencies in the environment. So far, beekeepers manage mites with strong pesticides and chemicals. I want to experiment with a cosmic tower that I would place in my bedroom, which is about 20 to 30 feet away from my hives outside. Question is, has anyone in this community done this experiment? And what are your thoughts on the efficacy of using the cosmic tower in this way? Would it work for my bees to strengthen their field as well as my own?
Yeah, I don't know about anybody in this community. I'm pretty sure in Europe, and I can check with Yvonne into that to see if we have any information about that. But absolutely, let's say when I first had my tower in Belgium, that's one of the first things that I know, that like after a week, there was just way more bees on the flowers, which tells me that the field is more harmonious and more aligned with life. So yeah, I think it's great, and bees are, as we all know, very important. So helping them in natural ways, which with a natural field, I think is very beneficial. And yeah, I'll check And with the people in Europe, one of the things I'll probably do, I can check with Yvonne, and I would love for her to join us in one of the 3 sessions that we have coming up, because the Cosmic Tower project is so much more further along in Europe. She has a lot more like testimonials, reviews, experiences to draw from and to share with us.
Okay, next question says, I live in a high-rise condo arrangement with a convalescent hospital, memory care, and assisted living just below me. My questions. In a condo situation, what are the effects of a 35, a Cosmic Tower 35 on the adjoining areas to my condo? Let me start with that.
Yeah, it comes back to what I was talking earlier about the range. There is no really like solid rule, right? It all depends on your environment, how much Wi-Fi is there, how many cell phone towers, if is it a hospital or is it like
I think it's a living situation above a medical situation, right? So
okay.
it's combined building, multi-use.
Yeah, so the cosmic towers, remember, they create a harmonious field. And but then, as I talked earlier, how far that field reaches again depends on the environment that you put it in and how much distortion is within that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
She goes further into like specifics, like is it cleaning air, water, energizing and structuring? Is it EMF protection? And what about how it affects hallways or elevators or other condos physically and the inhabitants? So I don't know if there's anything further you can provide about any of those specifically.
Well, of the basics, right, which is that any water within its range, the water clusters will be cut, right, and there'd be a restructuring of the water. The simple, this mechanism also holds true for the air, right, since there's humidity in the air, cutting the water structures up of the humidity in the air again puts more life force back into it, and the air is going to be cleaner and more energized. And hallways, elevator, or other condos. So remember that the cosmic tower creates scalar waves, and they are not they'll go through physical objects, right? So whether there's a wall there, it does not really matter. So as far as the hallways and the other condos and the elevator, yeah, you can set the intention to, clear the energies, right, and have them be as harmonious as possible, and that anybody that's in there receives help that's that benefits them in alignment with their highest self.
I got a lesson in space holding energy yesterday, walking through the woods of the Eyal Valley, which is a very sacred place here in Maui. And I've walked through this space a number of times. And one time when I walked through, I was walking through with somebody who's very tuned into the local Hawaiian culture. And as we stepped into the space, she stopped and asked for a blessing to enter the space. And it's just like going around some rocks in the woods. Like that's what it looked like to me the first time around. And so she asked for this permission, and I didn't really so much understand. And then the next time I went through, I wasn't as mindful as I went through with her. And I had an interaction with a plant, like hitting my leg in a way that let me know I wasn't being aware of the energy that was held in that space. And I was like, okay, noted. And then yesterday I came up to that space, and there's kind of an entrance with these 2 rocks, and I stopped, and I just felt and perceived the space. And there was just this there's a structure there between trees and rocks, and it's holding a lot of energy. And so I stopped and I asked for permission to pass through, and it wasn't granted. and I apologized for my previous conduct, and I turned around and I walked a different way through the woods. And then shortly after that, I was in a much different kind of softer, more connected space. I had something kind of on my heart that day, and there's a big tree there that's just so magnificent, and like its limbs are as big as trees. And I went over and put my hand on it and asked for support with the issue that was on my heart. And words, I spoke out loud to myself, to the tree, and words just started flowing through me. And like the tone and like where I was coming from, where the words were coming from was like so loving. So I really got a beautiful lesson at night yesterday, and offer that as a bridge to us helping to understand that that energy in the woods was probably built by some really honorable people who have a sacred way of life for a long period of time. That's my guess. And we can do the same. Like, so whether it's a hallway or an elevator in a building or something outside in nature, when we bring who we are as beings to honoring life, it creates something. And then people feel that. No, pretty amazing. Okay, so we're still on this the same person. She said some people in the memory care unit have come down with COVID this weekend. Does her 35 have any positive or protective effects on this physical area?
Yeah, so the cosmic tower and its natural field is always gonna, support your health and whatever you have going on. I COVID last year in June when I first got my cosmic tower, and I gave it like permission to really get whatever that was out of my body and to not hold back, even if it wasn't going to be comfortable. And I remember that night, like, first I had so much energy I couldn't go to sleep. Then I finally fell asleep, and then I remember waking up in the middle of the night and like a puddle of water almost. I dried myself off, went back to bed, and I woke up at 8 or 9 in the morning, and I was like 80-90% better. So I didn't necessarily matters what it is, but I think we can all agree if we're in a natural, life-giving field, our bodies are simply going to be able to do their job much better, right? And definitely, if the things that we are taking in, like the water, the air we breathe, is energized, and a lot of like the harmful substances are deactivated in it, that's always going to have a positive effect on our health or how illnesses play out.
Cool. Are there any towers in the US that have been harmed by hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, etc.? Does anyone who owns one feel like it has protected them from these types of situations? I remember the story about a person who felt protected from the storm, but are there any additional examples? I actually have one before I give it to you, which is back to that Lubbock, Texas rain, about 40 miles out from Lubbock. This summer, there were some violent rains, the type that are more normal for Lubbock. And they were from 40 miles and outward, but not inside Lubbock. And so that was noteworthy. And so it got shared with me that, hey, this is happening a little bit. And, that 40 miles is still within the range of some of the larger towers that we have there. So maybe you can comment on that. But it seems that Lubbock itself has been spared from any brutal rain this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially where it's at, like these are not just your average people. They track everything to very minute details, right? With the type of operation they run there with the regenerative agriculture. So these are really people that they know when something will be different from their area because they will look at all the historical data. And I remember Patter, the whole text messages of what they were seeing, that was very different. So yeah, absolutely. I don't know, are there any towers that have been harmed? No, right? And So yeah, just look at it again as just like you have your body with all your meridians, and part of your body you can have an issue. It's the same for the earth, right? So then applying a natural field will allow the earth. It's not like the cosmic tower per se does the healing, does the balancing. But remember, just like with our body, the earth also, if she's in a beneficial energy field, the blueprint for balance is already there. It's not like, oh, it's healing my body. No, it's creating a field in which your body can thrive, and your body already knows what to do. That's in the DNA. That's in the divine intelligence already within you.
Yeah, and
Now, oh,
oh,
sorry.
you have more?
Yeah, the story about the person, that's, I think it was somebody in Austria, and she had a 220 and a 75. And what actually happened is that she woke up like she was getting this message like, hey, you have to go look outside. And she saw this really violent storm building up that would have caused a lot of damage for that area. And what she did, she stood in between her 220, I believe, and the 75, and really worked consciously with them. And this is the one where then actually it lit up, right? In the center, there was so much energy flowing through it that the crystal in the middle started to give off light. And yes, she was actually able to dissipate that storm. And the same lady then did it again, I think a night later. It's in one of the Harald interviews where he also shares the story. So absolutely, we can do that, and know that again, it's us consciously like working with this, right? Rain dances, everything the native tribes did to work with the weather all over these are all things we inherently can do also. And then if you have the cosmic power, just consider it that you have an amazing backup, both energetically and from a higher dimensional point of view, to just give you more power to do what what you want to affect. Also knowing that the cosmic tower is never gonna do anything that's like harmful, right? If you have certain ego wishes or whatever is not in alignment, right? It's just not gonna do that or go with that.
Yeah, and with regard to this idea of, disasters and whatnot, and staying in the flow, and I got to Maui on August 5th, before the fires happened. And it's funny because I usually drive the loop of the north side of the island. I really enjoy it. It's like my favorite road. And that includes coming back through Lahaina, or I'll go over to Lahaina. There's a farmer's market that I like to go to over there. And I've been guided just 100% to stay away from there on this trip, which I've never not gone over there. And then after the fires happened, there was like a little bit of curiosity, like, can I, drive around and like see some of what's going on? And it's like, no, like I'm not going. I'm absolutely not going. And I didn't really understand it. I just knew that it was like really clear guidance. And then I heard a report that a lot of the houses that burned over there had paint from pre-1975, right? It was lead paint. And also there's mercury in all the thermostats. And so there's mercury and lead just running rampant over there. And one of the first parts of my being that began to show me really clearly awakening about 20 years ago is if I get around, I don't even have to be around it. If I talk about an idea of something that's really toxic, I get a tingle in a very distinctive spot on the back of my head back here. And I've seen it for so many years now that I know exactly what it is. It's like it's telling me that's toxic, turn away right now. And it'll happen with a concentration of chlorine, or even like a skunk that's just been run over on the road. That is also, for me, sends the alarm bell. I actually just talking about it, it sends the alarm bell off. So I realized when I heard that report and then I felt the tingle, then I knew why I've been guided to absolutely not go near there. So I think that, you know, in general, part of what we're up to as a community and with this project is creating a network where what we're interacting with is an accurate and harmonious and coherent blueprint of life. And that blueprint of life is steering us to love and joy. It's not steering us to harm and toxins. And if we can get ourselves into alignment with that and roll with it and trust the intuition and the guidance that goes with that, we can live at a different vibration. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting. Next question is, did you tell Dr. Ely about the towers? For those who haven't seen yet, like Dr. Henry Ely and actually Dr. Ed Group have become recent friends of the Wellness Enterprise. And we've done a recent call with Dr. Ely. And we're going to be sending out an email this week with an event that they're doing this weekend. And the reason we're sending the email out is I caught an intro video for it on Sunday. Nico was actually playing it and I listened in. And I was like blown away by the quality of the information that they're giving out. And so Dr. Ely's been really focused on getting to that event, but he's very much a friend of the family now, feels really, really close. And he lives about 2 hours from Sedona. And when he gets the chance to get up there for the weekend, he's going to go visit Cosmic Tower 220. So yes, Dr. Ely knows about the Cosmic Towers, and we're big fans of his work, and we're excited to share the towers with him, but we're also excited to share his work with you. So watch for that email. There's going to be an in-person in Dallas aspect to the event this weekend, but there's also an online version where we can follow along from home. And I highly recommend it. It's amazing information that they have. Okay. Next question. I think Anne already got hers in. Can you tell us the status of the big tower in Holland that was recently placed? Is it fully operative, and any effects that you're aware of on the populace?
Good question. We can ask Yvonne about that when she joins the call. There is a 4-meter tower that's been active in Holland for, I don't know exactly, it might be 9 months now or so, but I know it's not at full power yet. They have to gradually, the energy needs to gradually build up because it's really powerful. And I know there was talks about another one going into Holland, another 4-meter one, but I don't know the status. So let's ask Yvonne when she joins us.
Yeah, Yvonne's an amazing person and a great resource, and we'll be lucky to have her as part of this upcoming series. You guys will love learning from her. We've interviewed her once before, but we're going to go to a new level. She's been stepping up as one of the people that's really leading the Cosmic Tower project globally. So would the Cosmic Tower fall under the heading of AI? And are they always positive?
Yeah, so the dimensions that they're connected to, right, as Harald explained, they are above what you would consider where the distortion is, right, that we are experiencing in our world. And no, I would not consider them AI, maybe OI, like organic intelligence, or NI, natural intelligence, like all of us. Like, yeah, it has souls. And got power. There is nothing unnatural in there. I mean, there's no wire sticking out. There's no chip board. You're not plugging it into the grid. And yeah, it has then the built-in protection of being connected to the higher dimensions, to where it cannot be used to harm other life.
I think we've been so conditioned that it's hard to understand how supportive and loving our life is, how benevolent this universe really is, and how much support we have, and how that support works because we filter it all through, even if we don't mean to, even if we're well-intended, like loving, harmonious people, we filter it through what we've learned in this culture. And so, you know, something that is made by man and machines to manipulate, to fulfill a task. Let's not say to manipulate, to fulfill a task like artificial intelligence is never going to be on the level of something organic, alive, with all of its vitality and wholeness. The AI will always be a revelation of how it was created and from where the thinking came from. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that we're exploring OI. Organic intelligence sounds really great. Richard, I see you with your hand up there. Please join the conversation.
Okay, yeah, so a couple things. Since I have the 35 and a 220, I guess I can ask them to collaborate on projects together, right? And that's what I've been doing. And interestingly, I have another product from another company. It's Quantum, Layla Quantum. And they create these blocks. And I noticed that it also collaborates with it collaborates with the towers. I can tell my block to do this. I said, you know, I want you to work with my towers on a project like intentions. And I think it seems to work. And I've noticed when I'm suffering, like I have breathing problems, and many times one of the problems I have is my nose will run. It's really unfortunate because people like me have cannulas in our nose, you know, and that's where the oxygen comes. Well, I've been able to get my towers to collaborate on helping me stop the runny nose when that happens. I could never do that before, but if I catch it early and say, hey guys, I need some assistance here, it stops. So I think that's pretty amazing too. So the other thing is, I was wondering if you can actually tap in and make requests of the towers remotely, okay? Just thinking about it, you know, if I'm away from my tower, I don't leave my house that often, mostly for medical reasons. But I'm thinking, well, if I'm away from my house, can I think of my tower as long as I'm within range and ask for assistance? Again, is that something one can do?
Absolutely, Richard. And remember, your thoughts are scalar waves also.
Right.
That's light speed of thought.
So I'm thinking that what we're really talking about here is quantum energy, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about. And that's nothing you're going to get into plugging into an outlet, okay? That's the basic structure of the universe, the quantum energy. So is this what we're talking about here? It feels like that's what it is.
Yeah, and you can absolutely do that. And I've done that myself.
Yeah.
And actually, you can even think beyond just the tower. Right? They're all in a network, and they all work together. So there's a testimonial. I forget where we have it. One of the dowsers in Germany that works a lot with his 220. He, for example, has clients that are in northern England that are technically not within the range of his tower, but what he will do, he will put the request in for that particular tower, and it will travel through the network. And phone call later or two later from the notices.
Does he write them, or does he say them verbally, or does he just think them?
What he does, and first of all, you can do all of those, and we'll go more into that when we talk in the 3-part series. You can do all 3 of them. Of course, your voice has power, right? If you're just thinking is one thing, you add your voice to it, spelling, you're casting a spell. But the way he really worked was he would have a picture or would write down the name of the person and then really put his intention around seeing that person in a healthy, vibrant state and put it on top of his tower. That's how I understood he worked with it.
I would need a ladder to get on top of my 220. I can't reach that high.
Yeah, you could put 30
Get the
pounds.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for sharing, Richard. That's great with the breeding. I'm really excited for you. That's a big deal.
Okay, great. Thanks for jumping in, Richard. Nico, how long does the mini stay active when it's away from the larger tower? We're going out of the country for 2 months when the mini stay active for that long.
Yeah, I mean the mini, like any other tower, stays active on its own, right? And now the thing with a mini is, remember what determines the power, at least on the physical level of a cosmic tower, it's how much water is in it and how far the two water vessels are spread apart. The further they are apart, the more powerful it becomes. So in a mini, of course, there is not that much water in it, but it's active and it runs on its own. Now, you're not going to see an improvement with a mini and your energy going up and up and up. It doesn't have enough power for that. The mini is really designed to be easy to take with you and to keep your aura, to keep you at a level that you have built up to with your big tower so you don't decline. So it's not you go outside a range and you're declining again because you get bombarded to keep you. So having the benefits of structuring your water when you have it with you. And in that sense, it does not require the bigger network to to function. But it's, of course, very helpful when there's bigger towers around that can support it.
Okay. This is the last question. If anybody has anything else they want to ask live or put in the chat, now's the time. I talk about the cosmic tower when requested. I shared a testimonial about the anti-negative entity properties about the cosmic tower in my Defense Against the Dark Arts course forum. Another member asked about the psychic attacks against him by a colleague comparable to my experience with family members. Would the pocket CT have enough of a connection to my CT75 to protect against psychic attacks from other humans while traveling?
So there's a lot in here. So I feel like the first part is what, like a testimonial, or an experience
right.
that
I mean,
they've
the
had
first,
with.
yeah, she or he, I don't know who wrote this, shared
It's
about
Jordan, I think.
the anti-negative entity properties about the cosmic tower. So she's in a forum where that's a topic that they would be talking about. That's cool. And so I think the real question is the mini strong enough to protect against psychic attacks while traveling?
Yes, this is Jordan, and
I thought it was Jordan. Hey, Jordan.
Yes, so basically what I found is I had 2 other devices and it allowed me to fight back, but with the Cosmic Tower, it's the strongest. I don't have to do anything. And neither did my teacher's son who was experiencing possession. As soon as it got to the house, he instantly felt it. But if I am away from, I bought a 35 for her and I have a 75. So so the 75 isn't that easy to take along with for travel. So I'm wondering, would I have to get a 35, or would that small one, it doesn't, where your energy doesn't increase, would I be able to do that? Because the human on human psychic attacks, it basic for most of the techniques and devices, they work for, astral entities very well, but for human on human, that's the more stubborn, because these humans keep somehow funneling negative energy because we're both here in the same plane.
Yeah, got that. So like you, we've had good experiences, with the 75s and the bigger models. Now then it depends with the mini, right? How powerful is that attack, and is it just one person, and how much energy are they throwing at you? And then also, what's the support that the Mini has for wherever you are at, right? So if you're in range of a big tower, or like you say, definitely within range of your 75, you're gonna be fine. So I don't have an exact answer. I think we can ask Yvonne next week whether it would help with everything by itself. She's worked a lot with possessions and black magic and those types of attack. But I believe it will a lot of energy, and there's technologies involved that that can generate a lot of power that are aimed at you. So let's ask this one. I'll ask Yvonne about it.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to know if, if I'm like I was away for a couple of weeks and I didn't have the Mini, and I felt very drained. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that might be the most important part right there, is noticing how you feel. And
Yeah, and
that's-
well, actually, good point there. And you also, I mean, you're not powerless. You have a lot of power, but of course, as a human being, let's say you're in an environment where you're being bombarded by EMF, by 5G, and you're drinking fluoridated, non-structured water, and you're eating bad food. Immune is going to be a lot. So at a minimum, I know the Cosmic Tower, by like protecting you from those influences, you're going to be stronger within your own field, and you're going to be able to hold your center. So I absolutely believe, like it sounds like you're consciously and very aware of that, working with it to consciously work with your Cosmic Tower. I actually absolutely believe that you're strong enough to deal with that.
So, okay, thanks, Jordan. And it's like Richard's going to jump back in the questions. If anybody else has a question, please put in the chat right now or raise your hand.
Yeah.
It'd be even better. Thanks.
So one of the questions, you mentioned that some of the 220s or the bigger towers were not up to full power yet. So, and why is that? And what makes them, what inhibits them from reaching full power? How do you know when they're at full power? How long does that take?
Yeah, and when I was talking about the 4 meter 20 towers, Richard. So
Yeah.
imagine yours twice the size.
Yeah, they're big, right?
Right. So that's a really, really, really strong field. Even though it's a harmonious field, it's just like with the human body. It's like more power isn't always better.
Yeah.
Right. So oftentimes gentle and building it up so your body can keep up and you can process the changes, and it's not, knocking you out to where you're dealing with so much detox, etc. Is oftentimes a better road, right? So that's why I would see the same with the Cosmic Towers, but then maybe not so much reflected on your body, but the environment around you.
Yeah.
Right? How do we gently bring it up to full power? How do you test it? You can, tune in for yourself and measure it, with a pendulum dowsing or kinesiological. And if you want, I can actually check into yours, Richard, and see where it's at.
Yeah, check it out.
Yep.
I'm
Nico.
I'm happy with it,
Nico, how much water is in the Mini, and can you carry it on an airplane?
Yes, you can carry it on an airplane. I forget the exact amount. We've put that somewhere, Patter, but I know it's under the so many ounces. Like Tara and I, we take the Mini everywhere. We just went to San Diego. We were in Vegas. We were in Mexico, and I always put it in my carry-on. Now we do have TSA pre-check, but so far it has never been pulled out, not even been pulled out of the bag. Now, do know anything bigger than a Mini has too much water to go in your carry-on, and you're gonna have to put it in your check bag. but absolutely, you can take it on the plane, and I love having it on the plane and having the support there.
Yeah, and just a word about like authority in the world. Like, they don't have a machine. They have a scanner that looks through our luggage, but they don't measure the number of ounces in something. And so if somebody questions you and says, this has water and it can't go through, you say it's 3 ounces. You just tell them what it is, and they don't have any way to dispute that. So it's at or under the
Well,
requirement.
I know it's on, because in Holland there was a whole discussion about that in the thread, and they mentioned how much water was in it, but I just can't recall it from the top of my head. But I do know it's under the TSA liquid guidelines, or whatever you want to call it.
Awesome. Well, Nico, thank you for all that you've shared today. You guys, thanks for all your questions and your engagement and just your open hearts being here. It's amazing to be with this community and to be involved in this project together. Thank you all so much. And, please do mark your calendars for those Wednesday calls. We're going to keep doing the Q&A the first of the month, like this one, every first Tuesday. And then the Wednesdays, we're just going to run the special series, 3 Wednesdays in a row, September 13th, September 27th, and I think it was October 11th.
Hey, Patrick, there was a question we might have skipped over about the reset, so I'll just address this. People were asking what the process was for the cosmic towers. So no worries. There's a lot in there. So I just want to address that real quick. We said the process is that a reset requires a picture, and for North America, they can be forwarded on to support at the Wellness Enterprise, requesting a reset, and then we actually forward that on to
Nico, your internet's going in and
what
out.
happens
Nico, your internet's going out a little bit there, so let me just jump in. So if you want to have a reset on your tower, you send a photo of your tower to support@thewellnessenterprise.com, and we will take care of it, and we will tell you when it's complete. So that's the process for getting a reset done. So happy to do that when it needs to be done. And yeah. So anything else on that, Nico? Sounds like it feels like you're settled back up.
No, I think maybe there was a question of what actually the reset process is, but what happens is, the souls that are connected to it are released in a sense, and new souls are attached to it. Like I said earlier, like a factory reset. From Thiers owner, but when you get it, it's like a blank hard drive in a sense, and you can start putting your requests in and ask for help with your needs.
Great. How would you know if you need a reset?
Typically, the reset is only if your tower was owned by another person, right? And now it goes to a new person. So we just want to clear the information of the previous person and how it was customized. It's not like, oh, maybe something's wrong with my tower. Let's just push the button and try again. Right? There's other things that we can do there if you feel for whatever reason, like you want to have a check to make sure it's still working okay. I mean, we can tune into that, but resets are typically for when they change hands.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for being here. And we'll see you guys on the first Tuesday of next month. And we'll see you on the 3 Wednesdays for the playfulness, the art of playfulness class around Cosmic Towers. All right. Where is that button, Jen? Unmute everybody. We're still not good at this, huh, Jen? All right, well, you guys are welcome to unmute yourself and say goodbye. And maybe we'll get...
Everybody
Thank
can
you.
See you later. Bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye, thank you, Nico.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat.
Bye-bye.
That's good.